channel. Today it's Tuesday, got some lovely weather for a change. The week of forecast is pretty good. We've got about 20-25 Celsius. Everyone is out at the moment cutting silage when I was checking the cattle this morning, so everyone's out. It's good weather and we can crack on with it. If you look here, this is some upland which I've just got to put through the baler. It's the last bit to do at home and then we can focus on the broads, the marshes. So I'll show you here, we've got the baler box, 95 around the home farm. So I'll put the PTO on, greased the baler up last night and tried to do my best to maintain it. The tractor could do with a bit of a wash. I'll clean these windows, but anyway, put it up to 540. Bring her down. Gradually starting to get the hang of this baler. Of course it is better, we've had some dry weather. Unfortunately, some of the haylage near the farm, silage haylage, got a bit wet this year because of the wet weather we had in June. Of course I could have cut it a bit later, but that would have meant I would have been behind, and there's a lot of grass to get through this year, so you know we have got to get on at the end of the day. But unfortunately it's just one of those years, you know, there's not much you can do about it. Of course now we have got the good weather, but it is what it is. You know, I can't control the weather of the world, unfortunately. There you go. We should be getting on now. So yeah, you've got the gallops next there, that's where people go around with the horses. Hang on, let me just slow this up. Now, I have put the baler, the net wrap on automatic, so it will automatically net wrap, which is really, really handy. One of the things you have to be really careful of sometimes if you pick the pickup up is you don't knock the door by mistake. I have done that in the past, but you see when it tells you to put the door up, then you bloody put the door up. But that'll go up now. We'll be dropping some out near the yard here, so I can just come and pick them up later on with a teleporter. Oh, it's good to have some good weather. I don't always pick the pickup up, but sometimes it just helps if you're going near the soil. I haven't put the wheels down either on this crop. It doesn't warrant it. But I did have the wheels down the other day. Had someone in the comments saying about welding the disc on the bale trailer. That's a really good idea. Crushing along about 12k now. So this is a lighter crop, so you can get away with it on this. We'll have another bale, but there's a bit of a slope here, so I don't want to let a bale out and roll it down there, go through the hedge. Yeah, now we're getting a house on, so I'll slow her down. So we've got some potatoes over there. They've grown without irrigation. Unreal. But the irrigators will go on, I should think, this week when the weather comes right. So you'll get up to 107. Well, that's all those bales baled up. We've now got to go back to the yard, go and get the teleporter. We'll bring the bales in. Got the other tractor on the wrapper, and we'll do it that way. I had to go through the potatoes to get to that field because you couldn't go over the banks to the silage field. So we're having to go through the potato field on our way back to get back to the yard to go and get the wrapper going. And we'll come and pick the bales up. So we'll put them on the trailer. There's a bit of a hump to get into this part, so I left it on the side, but I've only got the side squeeze on, which normally I use to load the wrapper. But yeah, we'll pick these few bales up and it should work out pretty well just to bring them back and put them in the yard. Now I planted this field last year with the quad bike and a spinner. And it was quite interesting because I just put it on with the little spinner and didn't really think much of it. But in the mix, there was a lot of 30% clover, and I think the rest was all sorts of different grasses, sort of like Italian ryegrass and a few other bits. But anyway, I put it on with the spinner and I didn't put any fertilizer on it. And it was really interesting because the legumes actually absorb the nitrogen from the air, and they've actually helped to put nitrogen in the soil. And that is why I've got so many bales off this really small piece. So it's worked out really well. I think I've got 14 bales off literally like a hectare, I think it is. And it's no fertilizer, but it's all the clover. That's what's done it. So we'll try and implement, it was an experiment really, but we'll try and implement more clover on the farm in the coming years to save on the fertiliser costs. And then what's also interesting is the potatoes, because they've done so well over the last couple of weeks, couple of months without irrigation, they've also now got irrigation on, because we've got a dry spell which has just come. You know, if you want to grow anything on this farm, light sandy farm, you really want irrigation, and that is what you need really to grow a second cut on this lot. So that's something else we could look into. So clover to save on the fertiliser costs, and irrigation to grow second, third cut, something like that maybe. Because we always find once you get the good first cut off this farm, you struggle to get second and third cut because it always burns off, and that is the issue. So we'll look into it in the future. A couple of new ideas there to try and increase the yields and get some bales basically for the future. So I better crack on with this. Yeah, irrigation, that's what you need. And more legumes, clover, lucerne, alfalfa, some people call it in America, that sort of thing. I think it would do really well on this farm. Also Italian ryegrass as well, as a first cut in the arable rotation, would work really well as well. I probably should have bought the twin spike, to be honest, but I didn't want to change implements. And there we go, so we got 15 bales in the end. I was wrong, I got a little bit, another one extra. We got 15, all grown for very little. Only cost me, well, the quad bike on the farm and the spinner, and that was it. And the grass seed, a bit of net wrap for the baler. But other than that, hasn't cost us a lot at all to grow that. So I think we'll do some more of these clover lays around the farm and see how we get on with them. Well, I decided to take the Gallops home, back to the yard. She's doing well actually. She's the teleporter's pulling well this load back to the yard, and hydrostatic doesn't pull too badly, to be fair. All right, well, I'm just back in the yard. We're about to go and wrap all those bales. I've got the grease gun here. We're just greasing up the side squeeze because you want to grease all these parts here for the where the hydraulic ram is. That will rub out otherwise, and it will wear out all the box section. So we'll just grease that up. Like I say, just come back to the yard, so we'll have our lunch. And I've actually pulled some bread out of the bread maker, so I make my own bread. I know some people, you know, you can buy a lot of bread. You know, I've done it growing up, buying lots of processed bread. But I've been making bread for the last year actually. And you can slice, you know, take a couple of slices off this now, just leave it to sit for 5 minutes. But you know, back in the day on the farm, this is what would have happened. You know, people would have made their own bread. You know, when people were out working the land, it was a completely different time on this farm. So I'm trying to bring some old aspects of the farm back. And another thing I would like to bring back for this farm, you know, this farm, when we first came to it, was a dairy, and it had forward equipment on it. So it was a dairy farm with forward equipment. And my grandfather, he actually worked for his life at Forward, which has now been sold, I believe sold last year to a Dutch company, which was over the Netherlands. So Forward has now been sold, which is a milking company. But I wanted to bring an aspect of Forward back because we had the Forward equipment. My grandfather, like I say, used to work for Forward. So I'm looking for a Forward sign if anyone has one, and I'll pay, you know, a fair price for it, which can go on the front of the farm, because we did used to have a Forward sign there, which was representative of when the farm used to be a dairy. Now, this is probably not the best farm in the world for having a dairy on, because we're quite light land. We don't get the rainfall if you want to grow high energy crops like maize or, you know, Italian ryegrass. Hence why I was saying earlier about irrigation. That's the only way you could probably have a dairy in this part of the world. Now, they are talking about a lot of large-scale dairies in Lincolnshire because of the lower risk of TB in that part of the world, and also you've got the arable aspect there as well, so you've got a lot of food capability. I think one of the downsides of having a dairy herd in the east of England is because of drought and not having the rainfall, as I said earlier, for silage and for high energy crops. So there's a part of me which would love to be involved in dairy, and I've, you know, growing up we reared calves on the farm, and I'd love to bring it back to the farm in some way. But yeah, leave a comment in the comment section if you have any ideas for how we could bring a dairy aspect back to the farm. Like I say, you know, buying calves every year and rear them, that has worked really well, and I've enjoyed doing that. But the milking aspect, I suppose, you know, we're quite limited on this farm with the light land and with the drought. So I'm just going to cut this bread. I'll show you my sandwich. And yeah, anyone can do this. Homemade bread, you can use a bread maker, you can make it yourself, you know, just leave it to rise. I just personally, when I'm busy, chuck it in the bread maker, and then you're well away. But yeah, this sort of thing needs to come back. We need to get back to making healthy food. It goes off at about 4 or 5 in the afternoon. But bread should go off on the same day. If it lasts like months and months on end, it's probably not good for you. Ham, cheese, a little bit of mustard. I did hear recently there's E. coli in a lot of these sandwiches you buy from shops. So yeah, I'm going to enjoy this and then we'll go wrapping. We're in the tractor, have our sandwich, and we're in the 6R, we're on the wrapper. So you press confirm, set the wraps up, so you've got 24 rotations. And I've been checking the cattle as well earlier on today. That's what I've been doing in the Polaris. So what you want to do is put the hydraulic spool on, and then you've got the remote, like your TV, and it'll be away. So I start it off a little bit like that. Otherwise, sometimes you can stretch the film a bit too much, and then that's when you get the shears, breaks the film. But now it'll be well away, it'll be behaved. But this is what I say, you know, about a wrapping tractor, because this tractor needs to be on a mower at the moment, going down to the marshes, mowing hay at the Broads. But obviously, you know, sitting in the yard, we've put the wrapper on this now, and then I have to take the wrapper on, take the wrapper off, and I'd rather leave an old tractor on the wrapper all the time. So it's a job for another day. But you see, I've got that pile over there, that pile there we've just done, and then this is the main pile. This is the big one here for all the Broad stuff. So there'll be about 700 bales here, 650, 700, I reckon, and then a couple of hundred that side. I reckon, yeah, but there'll be about 1,000 bales here this year, I think. So we've got to keep at it. Now I could speed this up a little bit, but you end up breaking the film. I prefer you got black film, green film. For silage, I like the black film. But yeah, we got a bit of both this year, as I will talk to you about later on in the video when we go and get some silage wrap. So it's doing its thing. And I put a duvet down here this year. That works really well to protect the film against the concrete. You know, it's all in the detail silage. We're just trying to get that seal as best we can. So it comes up on the rubber mat, goes on the duvet, and then it's straight onto the pile over there. So you should hopefully see it now coming off. Greased this up last night. I went around on my bike and greased everything up. The baler, the wrapper, everything. Teleporter, everything. There you go. And then that's on the duvet, you see, ready to be picked up. Bought that wrapper in Germany at Agritechnica a few years back. It was built like a tank that I thought it would last for thousands and thousands of bales, so that's why I went for the Tanko over the McHale. That being said, I do like the McHale as well. The McHale's got a really unique cutting system when the bar comes down to take the film off, whereas if you look at how the Tanko stops, it doesn't do that. It does a slightly different system with a knife, so as long as the film's tensioned, it cuts really well, as you see there. So this one, and for anyone who's asking in the comment section why we put the bales in different stacks, this is haylage which we've just made. So this is a haylage row. We boom out with the JSM joystick, we can leave that on there. This is haylage, that's hay, and that's silage, and then the ends for the Broads. So everything is categorised. That little green one will go on here on the end. Everything's categorised because it's different types of grass. That's why it's all in different sections, so that when you come to feed it out, you know what's what. That's the idea anyway, and it does work quite well when we come to feed it. Alright, so we've now wrapped those bales and put them on the stack. You'll see we've got the Polaris out. I've just got to go and check cattle and sheep this afternoon. If you look here, some of you guys have been asking about the silage wrap we use. This is this year's use of silage wrap, which is Silotite. It's the new Sustain, which is made using recycled content. So it's 25% recycled content, saves 24% to a landfill, I believe. They are the Pro 1800 reels, so they're slightly bigger than the standard reels. So you get 20% more bales, less transportation, much easier to handle, because you're handling less reels basically. So have got on really well with this stuff, and also the recycled content is interesting because of the plastic tax. Hopefully in the future, as time goes on, Silotite will develop more and better technology for reusing recycled content. So less is going to be going to landfill, and the idea is that basically one day your plastic wrap can be potentially used to make silage wrap, if that makes sense. So it's quite exciting. The plastic tax has been difficult for farmers because it's of course increased the cost of plastic, but in the future this will get better. So that's what we use. I know some of you have seen some green bales. We've got green, and we also have some other stuff in the shed which is black. So yeah, huge shout out to today's video sponsor who help make it possible. The sponsors, everyone, you know, helps it possible, thanks to them. And yeah, we're going to make some more silage at the end of the week. This tractor will come off the wrapper and go on the mower, and then it will be out mowing down at the Broads very soon. So I've got Pip over there, the collie. Come on, Pip. Pip here, the collie. As you can see, chickens running around. There's a proper farm here. Nell, come on, Nell. Come on, that's Nell, our other collie. But yeah, we've done the start of silage, haven't we? We've had a go at it, haven't we, Pip? You going to say hello to everyone? So yeah, Pip is doing well for you guys who have asked. Clover is very well as well. Of course, Clover, my original Cocker Spaniel from back in A Day in the Life of a Farmer. I think she was in that video. But yeah, keep liking, keep subscribing and all of that good stuff. And in the next couple of days, we'll be back cutting more grass. We'll be out keeping the livestock all this summer. And then we've also got some plans for a new beef unit, which is exciting. So there's lots of things going on. And like I say, you know, as I was saying earlier, it'd be nice to do something with the Fullwood. So Fullwood machinery, Fullwood equipment, if you've got any signs or Fullwood merch, I'd love to know. And from Pip and myself and Nell, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Thank you to Youngs. See, the cat has found a new home on the 135. Can I have a go in the tractor, cat, please? You've been hogging it. Come on. Move the cat. I can have a go on the tractor, hopefully, because thanks to Youngs, it has been repaired. So, oh, here we go. Here we go. He's alive. Now we're farming. All right. Dogs. Click here to subscribe to the channel, and click here to watch another Olly's Farm video.